What's up? The lead magnet. What's up, man? I said, you
Doing
got
good.
three in this morning already.
Three, I thought it was four. I think there was
Four.
four.
He said, I thought it was four. Yeah,
Yeah.
man. So let's talk about that. Let's kind of take a step back. Do you mind?
No, that's fine.
Okay. So let's kind of talk about that. So how long you been in the business?
Since October.
Okay. And so what made you want to get into doing insurance in the first place?
The funny thing is that I didn't pick insurance. I do franchises. I'm a franchise consultant with a company called FranServe. But the pandemic kind of knocked me out because when I started, I was given, they have a lead system and I was given my leads as part of my investment. But I started when the pandemic started. And so things shut down. A lead doesn't, you got to get them when they're hot. Um, After a while, nobody would buy anything, nobody would buy. And so you got to invest in your lead system every month. And it's kind of expensive with them. And so I was doing it for a little while, then I couldn't do it no more. So I was praying. I said, man, I got to find a way to earn some money so I can invest in my lead system. So I wanted to find something that I could do in addition to that. And then on LinkedIn, Symmetry connected with me. And I didn't know what Symmetry was. And when they said insurance, I thought insurance. I never thought about selling insurance. And so I got talking to them. I like their team. It almost sounded like network marketing at first. That's the kind of spirit they have, but it wasn't. It was just simply being an insurance agent, and they had their own lead system program and everything. So I said, okay, that sounds cool, and because I can do it here at home. And so I went and did the study and took the test, and about 2 weeks I was an agent. And but they got their lead system too. And you have to kind of earn your way up to the top leads. And I got to the top, but what's so funny is I can get the leads, but like today, they sent me one lead. I'm supposed to get like 55 leads a week, and I pay for them. But for the last 2 or 3 weeks, they haven't had them. They just haven't been there. And I think they generate their leads. They have their own system. They don't have nobody come. They don't have no outside source. But I don't know if it's holidays, the time of the year. I'm gonna talk to them a little bit today, but I said you can't do business with one lead. I mean, you just can't. And then they got other ones. They got them. They kind of going kind of on a downward spiral. They got like 50-cent leads. And what I don't like about 50-cent leads is just maybe a step above cold calling, because those leads are like 3 years old, 2 years old. And you're calling like they just closed on a house. We do mortgage life protection. That's the premise they use to get into a home, and it's just not been that great. But so I thought it's got to be a way. There's a guy. I told the gentleman that initially called me. There's a guy with this company. His name is Lee Jedlicka. He's in Florida. This guy be killing it every week. And I keep asking him, I said, how come this guy does $15,000 to $20,000 every week? He's done it for like 112 weeks in a row, but nobody else does it. Other people do well. They do well now, don't get me wrong, but he's always at the top. And they said, well, he's in Florida and he's where the money is, and there's some very wealthy people. I said, but he's not selling nothing that needs to be bought by the wealthy. I mean, it's bought by everybody. It's not like he's selling regular policy. And so I thought he was with you guys. And he's the one, when I saw his number, I said, he's doing something that isn't through Symmetry. He has to be. There's no way he's doing that kind of work with the leads he's getting from them. So someday I'm going to talk to him. I don't know him personally, but this guy does close to 20. Sometimes he does $30,000 to $40,000 in a week. And there's just no way he could be doing that from the leads that he has here. He has to have a system like this. This kind of reminds me of that. The way the leads have been coming in. I've been so busy with Facebook leads that Symmetry leads didn't even matter anymore. I mean, I was on the phone all day with people, And I got an all day schedule today, and I'm sure I'll be busy all week, even during the holiday week. And so that's kind of exciting to me. That really makes me feel good. And then the call yesterday was really good with, is it Lee?
Earl.
Earl. I thought the call was really good. It was very informative. And I mean, listening to other people's questions, because he talked about kind of the evolution of this thing, how it comes together and why it's done the way it's done. And you kind of explained that to me anyway, but it's kind of like the light came on and the light is getting brighter all the time. And it's making a little bit more sense to me. And it's really exciting because I see what you're saying now. At first, it was like I got nervous because I wasn't seeing the leads and the money, putting out the money, and I didn't really have that much to put out. But it's exciting to see them come in. And you know what? And for some reason, they've been answering the phones. They've been really very serious about getting something, and I've been able to satisfy all their needs. I haven't got an application yet, but I believe I will probably today and tomorrow. I have quite a few, just based on the information that I have in hand.
And when you say quite a few, what do you mean?
I think there'll be a lot of people that I'll get the application done with.
Well, how many people have you got lined up for today and tomorrow?
I got about 7 people at least. There's a few more that are expecting my call because I called them. They were at work, and they told me to call them back today and tomorrow when they're not at work because it was too hard for them to talk. So
Okay.
I'm pretty sure, and they're talking pretty serious. And
Yeah.
I'm sitting here, and the sun's starting to come up here.
Yeah, it's okay. So, but what's the difference, right? So these people are, what's kind of the demeanor when you call them? Are they upset with you? Are they like excited to speak? Like, what's the process been for when you're speaking to people? What's their reception of you?
Well, I think because I've been calling like almost immediately. Not, some of them I'm getting like in the middle of the night. I get like at 4 or 5 in the morning, my time, and but it's like they're expecting my call. They're looking forward to it, and some of them are really serious about it. Most people that would inquire about life insurance, they're concerned because I don't know if it's the time that we live in with the COVID era. As a matter of fact, one of the people that I talked to was under quarantine with COVID, and we couldn't make the final decision because she couldn't get with her husband because he's can't be in the house. So she had to wait a couple days.
So that's one in the books right there, pretty much, right?
Yeah. You know what? I think a bunch of them are going to be. I think I'm gonna get a lot of stuff done. I really do. I feel that because when I talk to them, they just have this. Yeah, blah blah blah. Then they start telling me what they want. They start spilling it. And then I thought about we talked about the calendar. Because I think, again, I'm not experienced. I'm just getting into this, but they talk about a one-step process. Because if they go in there and they fill out the calendar and they put their name in the calendar and they give you a little bit more information, I really believe that if you can get them on the first call, you can get the deal done right away. Because that's when they express their desire more than any other time.
Yeah. And that's what we're going to set up for you because that's what Greg Jones uses, right? And so that's what I mentioned to you before is that so now, but see, I have to get you to be a believer first, right? Because most agents think this is too good to be true, right? So we have to get you some leads to talk to some quality people where you don't have to cold call. People are picking up the phone. They're happy to speak with you. And then they're ready to move forward because they're serious with it. And most agents are like, oh, they're writing in the mail for it being the holiday season. But you're like, no, I'm busy today and tomorrow, right?
Right.
So then once we do that, then we go to, okay, the one-step process where now we know this works. We're going to give them a little bit more information on the front end, and then they're just going to book themselves. So now you start to see that this is something that actually works and how far you can actually take this, right?
Yeah, you know what's funny about it is, I mean, even after saying it, it almost still seems too good to be true because it makes sense now. Don't get me wrong. I believe in it very much. But when I look at it and I said, boy, if you can turn this into a one-step process, because I believe you catch people at their emotional height when they're speaking the most about their need. And I noticed even when I was with Symmetry Leads, I said, if I can get them to sign the deal and do the application on the first call, because it seems that's when they express it the most. And so I see what you're doing. I see, first of all, you got to make sure that you can get the lead, and that brews up some excitement. It kind of gets you going. But now when I think about it, it's kind of exciting, because if you can turn this into that type of a system, I still can't even, I can imagine it. But it's almost like, and I don't mean to get a step ahead, but it almost sounds like it's a done deal. You know what I mean? When a person puts their name in the calendar, and they're not doing that, because they ain't got nothing to do. They're doing that because they're pretty serious about what they're doing. And it's kind of exciting to me, because in my mind, I'm thinking that, because I think the thing that the thing that's been over the insurance industry is, who wants to do cold calling and work that hard just to get to a meeting that may or may not end, in the way that you want it to. So anyway, I don't know. It all just looks good to me, and I'm still learning. I'm still figuring it out. I know how to talk to a client, but all this, when I look at it, it feels good. And when I listened to the call with Earl, and yesterday, it was, I don't know, it's just different. I think it's me that's different, not so much the call, but I feel like I'm different. And
right. Because your perception is different now, right? Because I think you were gonna quit in the beginning, right? You were gonna like just get a refund and kind of and stop, right?
Yeah, because I felt like it wasn't. I wasn't making. Not that it wasn't making sense. I was like, I wasn't understanding at first, and I'm thinking, maybe this ain't for me. So
right. And it was just a quick shift, though, right? We just needed to hop on a call, and there was that one thing that wasn't working, which was you had leads in there. We just hadn't clicked. We hadn't turned the thing on. And once we turned it on, you was like, I just need to talk to one solid person every single day. I was like, well, you got 19 people to talk to today, because this list of leads have been sitting here.
Come on here and close these blinds for me. They're just tearing me up, and I don't want to get out of my seat. my this Colorado sun is amazing.
I had that to me yesterday when I was on the call. And so, you got those 19, and then you're like, well, aren't you glad you kind of stuck it out and trusted me?
Yeah. You said something, because you didn't come across as we talked about, the idea, people said, well, he's a scammer and this and that, but that never felt like that, because if it was, you would have presented a whole lot different. And then I listened to I think maybe just two people, their testimonies, and their testimonies, I mean, they weren't like, ridiculously crazy or nothing. I mean, it was very much, we got to work, we did it, and one guy even said he works a full-time job, and he just does it on weekends,
Right.
And so at first I had expectation, but I didn't really know what to really expect, because I never done this before. But after doing it, I was kind of afraid of the money, what I mean? Because I saw money coming out of the account, but the leads weren't showing up. And so I don't know, I'm a pastor, so I take care of a church and a home. And I told the church, I don't want the church to give me a salary. I said, I'm gonna find my own way to work. But it got down to the point where the money was leaving, but the money wasn't coming in. So I thought, I don't want to be foolish and do something that put me in a financial peril. And so that was the only reason. It wasn't what you were doing, or what the team was doing, what your consulting firm was doing. I was kind of figuring that I don't know if I have time to wait for this to be successful, because it seemed like it was taking more money than that was coming in. And then, you did some tweaks. And, I think you said, so you transfer. So I wish I can find the language to describe it. You took something from yours and you put it into mine, almost like a brain. That's what I interpreted it. You took, I don't know if you call it.
I injected some DNA.
Yeah, you put it. And let me tell you, I don't know what that was, but the leads are different. I mean, they really are. They are different. And I said, this is the weirdest thing I've ever seen, because I saw it in action. And it really got me excited. They got me excited. And I'm really excited about the calendar, because it'll make, I'm a very disciplined, I like to be organized, and when I see people put their names in the calendar and pick a slot, to me, that's exciting. Even if it meant talking to them more than once. It's exciting to know that they are interested. They got a slot. I know when to come in at 4 o'clock, I get on, there they are. That's exciting to me. So I'm really excited about the progression. And I don't even know if I could fully comprehend everything in front of me. I really don't. So that makes it even more exciting when my own vision and desires seem to be smaller than what really is in front of me.
Right.
I'm a big dreamer. Trust me. I'm a boy. I believe in, but I'm disciplined at it as well. So, but it looks like, for what I could perceive, Arturo, it looks like this thing is really huge.
Yeah.
It's
And I
really
keep trying
cool.
to explain that to agents. It's like, this is just the beginning, right? We
Yeah.
haven't even scratched the surface. For us as a humanity, we still don't even really understand technology in its own. We're discovering something new every single day. Over the last 2 years, technology has grown, and more information has been installed in the last 2 years than it has in the whole history of humankind. So
Yeah.
technology is a precious resource that has surpassed oil, which is a natural resource. So with that, people need to realize that this is something that we need to use and integrate into a lot of areas of our life. For example, this computer, Alexas, you know, all of these things need to be integrated because it makes your life easier, right? When we couldn't go out, when we were on lockdown, we had to use these things to get things to come to the house, right? So there's no question about technology is very, very important today. Tradition is great, but in today's age, I think innovation and technology, you know, is more important to that, because there's no limitations to it. Now your business is pandemic proof, recession proof, right?
Right. 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 And I can't wait till this thing is kind of working like a, well-oiled engine, because I really want to share with the people that I work with. Those people are pretty amazing to me, because they've done quite a bit with what they have. And I think what they have is, it's good. They started like 10 years ago, and this company does millions and millions of dollars, but their lead system, to me, hasn't caught up with the times, like what you're talking about.
Right.
They're not utilizing that technology. Technology is scary to some people. People like in my age group um, get a little intimidated by it. I do too, so to a degree, because I didn't grow up with this. We didn't have cell phones when I got married, and we didn't have a computer in the home. Laptop didn't even exist. Stuff like that wasn't even around, and so we had to do it as adults. Whereas this generation now, you're growing up with that stuff. That's all you know. And but I thought, if these people knew what you could do, brother, I'm serious. If they're already killing it, and I said, if they can incorporate this technology into what they're already doing, it's kind of scary what they can accomplish. And I'm telling you, that one guy with this company, he's doing something. I mean, he just ain't telling. You don't have to use Symmetry leads. You can do whatever you want. But I think Symmetry, because they got so much money, that if they upgraded their technology and brought someone like you in as a consultant, well, I tell you, I think that's a fertile field that hasn't been tapped into yet. I really believe that, because these guys they're workers. I mean, they stick with it, they work hard, and they get what they call these 50-cent leads. And those 50-cent leads, I'll work it every now and then, but I mean, you shouldn't have to work that hard, And I look at what you're doing, it's just mind-boggling to me. I keep thinking about it. I said, boy, if these guys had Arturo, gee, they're already doing it. They're killing it. They got agency owners that are doing, $2 or $3 million a year with just a handful of people. And they got a bunch of those. I mean, and they're getting there in less than a year, so that's what I intend to do, Arturo. When I figure this out and this thing is running smoothly for me, I got agents that are going through the testing phase now. And I want this to be a part of what we all do, because I think it's phenomenal. It makes life a lot easier. I mean, don't you? Time is important, right? I mean, you got that baby there. If you was working all the time, you couldn't enjoy your children. I know, because I did that, and you got to work all the time. You're out of the house all the time. And, just to make that dollar so you can pay the bills. And plus I was a pastor. I've been a pastor for 32 years. And I've always had to work jobs and businesses, and I'm just going, 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 going. And then I'll get to church. I'm too tired to do anything,
Yeah.
so now I can come outside. My bedroom's around that little plant there. And I can sit here and just go to town and make more money than I've ever made in my life. And now we got time. We can go do things with the kids and the grandkids, and that's exciting to me. So that's what I want to do. I got about five people right now, including my son, that are going through the testing phase and trying to get their license. And I really want this to be a part of what they do.
Yeah,
because I really believe in it.
Yeah, and that's the thing is some agents they're not thinking big enough. And you mentioned that you're a big dreamer, right? And when you have a system like this, you're like, wait a minute, it's kind of almost scary. It's like, wait a minute, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can really make something of this if we really seize this opportunity and see where we are, right? And it's kind of that mindset where we have to kind of free, we had to have this free mindset, right? Because they teach us that this business is hard and we need to grind it out for 5 years, build an agency, get some folks under you. It's like, wait a minute. So you mean I got to work all my life now? Is what they tell you to enjoy. And then when you retire, you're supposed to have a good life. It's like, well, what about if we can flip that now, right? So now
Right.
we can have a great life and leverage technology to give us more time. And then you can make more money than you ever made before, right? And then share with other people, because this isn't magic, right? It's just a system.
Yeah, it's just a system, and it makes it real simple. Do you know Zig Ziglar said that the greatest job you can have is to be an insurance agent? Do you know he said that? And I thought, really? He said it could also be the worst job in the world, because he said once you figure out how to get to your customer without spending all that time calling and whatever, he said then you got a gold mine. He said what makes it the worst is when you don't have the client. And I thought, there's a fine line. You just said it. There's a fine line here. Once you figure a system that brings the customer to you without you going and knocking on doors. When I was 18 years old, I was interested in insurance. Metropolitan Life Insurance agent contacted me, and he came to me and he handed me a stack of contact cards and he put them in my hand. He said, "You want to be an agent?" He said, "Take these cards and go get clients." And I walked away and I didn't do nothing, because I thought, well, take them where? Take them to who? I'm 18 years old. I had no idea. I said, well, I can't just come in there and work. But that's the really, really old school system where they used to, grind it out and go door to door or whatever they did. I don't know what they did, but that's been kind of the dark cloud that stood over the insurance agency or the insurance industry, because people said it took too much work to get the one person in front of you, and now they got, you got property casualty companies where they do everything. They do automobiles and blah, blah, blah. And what's bad about that is there's not enough money to cover all those people. Right. So I like the specialization of just life insurance. I don't want to do health and auto, because I don't think you need to.
Right. And that's the thing with the model though, right? It's a different model now of, instead of you going out and chasing clients, to turning this model around to inbound, to clients coming to you, raising their hand, right? Saying they're interested. Clients, booking themselves on the calendar, right? Having good conversations, because it changes your positioning, right? When somebody comes to you, it positions you as an expert, right? A doctor doesn't come to you and knock on your door and say, "Hey, is everybody feeling okay in there?" Right. You come to the doctor. You come to the door and you speak to the receptionist. "Okay, sir, you got a headache or you got a stomach ache. Here's a clipboard. Have a seat over there. Fill this out. Give us a little bit more information. And when it's your turn, we'll go back to see you." "Oh, well, I'm in so much pain. I've been up all night." "Yes, sir. Here's this clipboard. Go fill this out. Have a seat over there, and we'll get right to you as the next available," right? Different positioning. And that's what this does, is it turns your business into a practice.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And that is so exciting to me. And like it's still always almost, I'm sitting here looking at it, doing it right in the middle of it. And it still seems like it's too good to be true. It's like, this is perfect. When I was praying for something that I could do at home and make a lot of money doing it. I had no idea what I could do. I said, but I think Symmetry opened the door for me. What I like about Symmetry is we're not just with one carrier. There's tons of carriers, which I think is important, not to be stuck on just one, because if the one don't have the answers, the other one may. And then now, I just happened to come across you, and I was watching your videos and listening to it. I said, that sounds so simple. And and I think the combination of the two has put me in a seat where I'm going, wow. I keep telling my wife, I said, this is really, really something. I said, well, and I think what it is I still don't understand the technology, but I think that technology is doing more than we could imagine it doing. I said, I feel like something is changed. I felt a metamorphosis even just in the last week. Seriously, I feel like my leads are so different. They're coming in, and they're coming in with like, please call me, with that kind of feeling. And so I'm excited today. I got the 4 calls. I'm going to call them as soon as I get a chance to call them, because I don't know. I just have such a belief in me, and that makes a difference too. Because
yeah, so let's talk about that, because that's the shift that you made, right?
Right,
Was your
right.
mindset had to change, and I think that that's important. So if agents are seeing this, it's one of those things that you have to make a shift, right?
Yeah,
So let's talk about that. What's different?
absolute shift. You know what? I told the mentors that I have in Symmetry, I was doing the leads, and I was 0 for 10. And what I mean is I had 10 appointments. I didn't get nobody to buy. And I thought, what I did was I was reading a book called Outwitting the Devil, Napoleon Hill. It's not a church book. It sounds like it is, but it isn't. But they got to a point on talking about failure. And it's how people interpret failure. Failure could be a stepping stone. But what people do is they live in it and let it become a negative thing inside. But what it did to me was I did it like a baseball player. Um, when a baseball player, even the greatest of the baseball players, they can go 0 for 20. What the manager will do is he'll say, come in. He'll make them sit down and not play the next game and watch film. I want you to see what you're doing and look at everything to find out what's not working. And that's what I did. I told myself, look, I'm going to get back. This is before all these leads started coming in. I'm going to look at things, said, there's something I'm not, it may not even be anything. It might just be my mindset. And I think a lot of it was my mindset, because the more I wasn't getting applications, the more I expected to not get an application. You know what I mean? It started messing with my head. And I said, I need to do a reset, just kind of a mental reset, because I was expecting not to do anything, because that's what's been happening. So I stopped. I stopped making the calls. I stopped. And then I came back and I looked at the leads. I wrote them all down on a piece of paper, and I said, wow, there's a lot of people here. Then they started coming in. I got like 9 over the weekend or something like that. And then yesterday, another 4. That's 13 people. I always consider a person, in church, a soul that's an eternal being. That one person is valuable. People like to have groups of 300, 400. I say one is means a lot to me. So when I get one call, who knows what one call can produce? And so I started thinking differently. You're right, mindset. I started believing in everybody that calls. I started believing in what happened. I felt like it was a divine thing that happened that brought me to Symmetry, that brought me to your consulting company. And I want to believe that the combination of the two is going to produce something tremendous. And the funny thing about it is these leads are coming in, whereas the other ones aren't. So these are leads that are keeping me busy. The other ones are not there. They're not, and so.
And you don't have time for them anyways.
No, I don't. I'm gonna do a major shift from that, and because they're harder leads. They're good leads, but again, I'm calling them. Whereas in this case, they're going to be calling me, like you said, as an expert, filling a calendar. So boy, I tell you, the whole thought process has really changed, and I'm excited. The money hasn't come in yet, but you got to do a lot of things before you get to the money. I taught one time a series. I said, money is at the bottom of the list. Money is what is produced from other things that you do. building relationships, getting to know people, understanding how things work. There's so many other things that need to happen first. And I think that's what's happening now is I have a little bit more understanding. I'm not an expert in technology, but not by any means, but I'm understanding a little bit more about how it works. I see how it's bringing the client to me. You mentioned it, Earl mentioned it yesterday. We had to make you understand how this works by just giving you leads, period. Just letting them come in and then you call them, and really that played a big role in my shift when I started seeing people calling me and contacting and filling out the little form and then I start calling them and it's been really interesting, and what's interesting too though is I'm licensed in Colorado and I'm licensed in Texas and now I'm licensed in Utah. I'm going to keep adding to that because I want to get my opportunity as high as I can get it. So I need to put Utah on the list, by the way.
Yeah, and we'll get to that. So before we wrap up this part, what would you say to the agent that's kind of having a little bit of success, but they're grinding every single day, making those dials, and they're talking to those people, and they're fighting through, and they're driving an hour to go to an appointment to get stood up, and they're just believing that there's no way that something like this work? What would you say to somebody like that?
I would talk to them just the way I would about what happened to me. I think what they're doing is tremendous. I think it takes a special person to grind it out like that. I do. That work ethic is tremendous, but what they're missing is the factor of time, and time is the most valuable commodity that we have. And when I came into this system, I didn't understand it. You don't have to understand the system. You have to believe in the system. And at first, my lack of understanding almost crippled me. To the point where I thought, well, because I don't, and really because I don't understand it, I was going to back off and say, this ain't going to work. I'm too old, or I'm old school, and I don't know how to do stuff like this. This is for young people, and blah 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 blah. And that's why I called and sent the message. I didn't know what that message would create, and you came. I mean, you did the perfect thing. When you came and took
when you say message, you mean that you were saying that you wanted to quit, right?
Yeah, the email that I sent that said, I think I should just quit. And it wasn't based on the reality of what's going to happen. It was based all entirely on my lack of understanding. And you know what? You don't have to know how a plane flies. You just got to know that it does. And see, in me, I was looking at what I didn't understand at all, and it seemed like it was working in opposition to what I wanted, and sometimes you do things, and you got to come back and redo it. You got to come back and tweak things, and that's what you did. And when you did that, all of a sudden I realized I don't have to know how this works. I just have to believe that it does. And when I started seeing the leads coming in, and I tell anybody, for what you're doing, you would save a tremendous amount of time if you just come into the system, believe in the system. Don't try to figure it out now. Don't say, well, how is this working? How do you do this and that? And my dad used to do when I was a kid. This is funny, but my dad is really big on machinery and stuff like that. And he would take us to an amusement park and have me and my brothers watch how the actual ride works. We're 10 years old and we're going, I don't want to know how the ride works. I want to ride the ride, and he was always intrigued by how it works. You don't have to know how it works to enjoy it. I just want to get on the ride. How it works is not, I don't have any interest in that. And so, and I think if we just believe in what's happening, and Arturo, you're kind of like a preacher. You got to get people to believe in you first. And once people believe in, I'm telling, and you're easy to listen to, you're easy to talk to, and once people get to a point where they believe in they see what you're doing, it's obvious. I'm even looking at your video. I saw you show your house, and I said, well, he's living pretty good. I can't quite see it all, but it looks very comfortable. You seem to have a very comfortable, at ease, like kind of life, and you're very You're not like uptight and frantic, and nervous, and you got to sell somebody on your vision, and please come in. When you reached out to me, you didn't reach out of desperation like I need you in this. You reached out to me like, oh no, don't quit, because we're just getting started. You're so close. You read the book 3 Feet from Gold. If you read the Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich, out of that, there's a story about a guy that was 3 feet from gold. He was mining this mine, and he kept working at it, kept working at it, kept working at it. And then he said, there's no gold here. And he sold the gold mine. Another guy went and had it surveyed and realized that this guy stopped just 3 feet from gold, and he would have been incredibly rich. But you know what? The most impressive part of that story is that guy did not give up on life. He went into the insurance industry and became one of the greatest insurance agents ever. And he did it through the old school method, obviously. And so, I feel like I'm 3 feet from gold. I do. And that's probably where I was at when you came to me and you began to work with me. And I think because of that, I was getting ready to walk out and say, I can't do this because I don't understand it. Not because it didn't work, but because I didn't understand it. And so I see that this transformed, and I'm very fortunate because I'm a new guy. I didn't have to go through a lot of the grinding that a lot of these guys do, and I hear a lot about it. And I don't have to go through that. I went right in. I'm just 2 or 3 months in, and I get to get this system incorporated into what I'm doing. And that makes the insurance industry all that more attractive to me. And what Zig Ziglar saying, I don't even know if he fully knew what he was saying. This is really what he was saying, is once you figure out how to get to the clientele or how to get them to come to you, oh my goodness. If you can do that good grinding it out, how much better can you do when they're calling you? Isn't that what makes a doctor rich? Isn't that what makes, the grocery store, Walmart rich, is because people come to them, and people start buying their product and start believing in what they had. And so this is really the same thing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And so I think that that's very helpful. And so I appreciate you sharing that. And so we'll go ahead and conclude this part of the meeting, but thanks for sharing that. That was really helpful.
Absolutely. Yeah, I really appreciate you. I appreciate your company very much.